Hi, I'm Jason. This is Devil Mountain Diesel. Today we're talking about the 2024 Ford Raptor. This is a 37 package truck that we got to replace the last shop truck, the 2020 Ford Raptor. You might have seen in the Hoonigans video, it decided to be an airplane for a minute. So needless to say, it's led us to here. And this truck is an amazing truck. Ford's really done a good job. This has the dual live valve system on it now, being a 37 package truck. Ultra capable from the factory, but as use does, we've learned some of the limitations, and one of those is lighting. And so for this truck, we've gone all the way in and have really done a good job with the lighting circuits on this truck and made this truck ultra capable for anything you're gonna do with it. We did it all in one fell swoop instead of doing it piece by piece. We went in and did everything from the lights to the controllers and all the things. So as you follow along in this video, hopefully you see something you like, maybe an idea for your truck. Check it out. Our friends at Baja Designs partnered up for all the lights for the Raptor for the 2024 shop build. And Kyle over at Baja Designs was gracious enough to help us with that. And so we've got pretty much full LP4 Pro in amber for bumper lights and then for ditch lights. The LP4 is technically it's a smaller light. It's still almost 9,000 lumens per light. It's like when you go to SEMA and they have the light display and there's 100,000 lumens worth of lights and there's one switch and the guy stands there and flips the switch. It puts the lumens in your face. Look at that. It's a lot of light. Oh, fuck. We ended up doing the S2s in the bumper. We also have the sPOD controller. This is the BantamX. This is gonna be the touchscreen controller. The great thing about their kits is they come with the appropriate mounting, comes with harness, comes with all the pieces to plug and play for your application. So Baja Design does a really good job with their application-based products. If you're wondering, is this gonna fit? If they say it fits, it really does. And it's really well engineered. You think this is awkward, you see me on Christmas morning. There's the LP4s for the bumper. These are gonna be in amber, and these are again LP4 Pros, spot flood. Those will replace the factory rigids that come from Ford Motor Company. I haven't actually done this to a truck this new. They don't usually change much, but there's always like the new mystery bolt location that they love to hide on you and be like, oh yeah, you thought you got all the bolts out. But you didn't. Oh, in there like swimwear. There's the BantamX, the touchscreen. So we still have the factory upfitter switches here that we can still use if we choose to, but we're gonna run all our switches now through this because this has so many more cool functions like strobe and all sorts of engagement switches and whatnot. Yeah, so now we're done with this. We just gotta get this headliner back on, and then everything else now is under the hood for the most part. So making progress. So we've got the big lighting project, Baja Designs going on. Partnered with SPV for a bunch of the kind of smaller parts. They make really nice high quality harnesses and adapter kits for all your big light brands, but specifically I'm using them for the Baja Designs. This is like their little kit for the upfitter switch harness. And so, most of us remember when we butt connect to the upfitter switches, then we decide to change our mind and change our lights. Then you end up clipping it again and you're constantly cutting and adding. And so SPV actually does this pretty cool. And it's, it's not brain surgery, but it's super clean, well done. And they're little connectors. So every time I'll never cut the upfitters again. I'll just keep unplugging and plugging into the upfitter switches. So that's super cool. They make the adapters for the backlights, for the LP4s that we're running. Honestly, a lot of you guys can probably make these at home. I can certainly make this stuff, but the reality is they do it. It's faster. Shipping was great. Customer service is awesome. And they had the bar that I needed for putting the LP4s on the bumper. We talked about the bar a little bit earlier. This is our SPV bar. Again, factory modular mounts. And it's all here to hold our LP4s. The amber is for dust, snow, fog, right? Any of that stuff is all gonna be amber light. The white light is for just regular clear line of sight, nighttime driving. 8,800 times 6, so that's 52,000 lumens. So that's not including the little S8 bar or the Squadron Pros. So we're definitely over 60,000 lumens. This configuration, I went with the LP4s because to me they're more of a, granted there's 6 of them, but they're a little more fly under the radar kind of thing versus the bigger LP6s on this truck. This is still a daily driven truck. Ultimately, this is gonna be plenty bright for Starbucks, so that's my primary concern. This look to me is a little more understated, which is hard to say when you're talking about giant LEDs on the front of your truck, but compared to say an LP6 or an LP9, yeah, they're understated. So we're gonna get these all tightened up and wired up, and then we'll start flashing bright lights here pretty quick. This is gonna come out. This is pretty cool. They make a jumper harness for this. Look at that. Let's see if I can find it in my collection. So this is the jumper harness from SPV for the marker light circuit. So basically all the backlights will be wired in conjunction with the factory marker lights. So every time the factory marker lights come on, all our backlights will come on. So that's kind of a cool thing. And they make this clean little harness that we just plug in right here. Nice. And then now this will go to all our backlight circuits.
And why do that?
Just to make sure all our connectors, the connections are right, because every once in a while you'll put a pin in the wrong hole. And so before you get all this stuff shrink wrapped up and put away nice and neat, we'll make sure it all works. And with neat little connectors, so these are all the connectors from SPV. They make all the harnesses and all this stuff to do, so you can do a super clean install with all these accessory lightings from your favorite companies, from Baja Designs or Rigid Industries or Diode Dynamics, and our favorite is Baja Designs, but today we're using all the cool stuff from SPV. They sell all the this S2 kit that we have here too. So this is an SAE light from Baja Designs. So SAE means you can drive with it on legally. While you're cruising down the highway, you can have this light on. This S Pro, you technically need a cover on while you have it on your truck. This is not street legal to have on while you have traffic coming. As soon as you get off the highway, you can turn these on. We'll show you right now how bright those are. So your S2 Pro, and then your SAE S2 Amber. The SAE Ambers are wired through the factory switch. So they retain the exact function of your factory fog lights. All the functions identical right here, okay? Then the S2 Pro is on the Ford upfitter switch here. The factory one, which is the same place on a Gen 3, where they turn those on from, if you have a Gen 3, Gen 3.5 for some of the cool kids, that's this. Basically, you use the factory bracketry to replace out the factory rigids that come from Ford Motor Company. And the Baja Designs gives you these super cool brackets that mount the S2s into the factory replacement locations. And they wire directly into the Ford harness, at which point you retain your parking sensor, which is awesome. And then these lights bolt in the exact same spot. So definitely a really nice, clean install from Baja Designs. South Park, where they talk about Ozempic, but if you don't have money, you get Lizzo. So I got Lizzo, that's what I say. The body positivity, because I don't have any money, so I didn't get Ozempic. My Lizzo's, not working for me. So if we position this up, we're gonna just cinch this down. We've got our 2 mounting bolts. We're gonna make that slightly kicked out to the outside. You pre-assemble the cradle and the light on the bench, because if you look, there's a stacked washer in here. So it's a lot easier to get that washer and all these internal washers in on the bench. So you build the cradle and the light on the bench and then mount the bottom onto your fixture on the truck. So every Toyota guy probably has like 3 or 4 Instagram pages, and every Raptor guy, self-respecting Raptor guy, has at least 2. And then he's got the 3rd one that's supposed to be like his personal page, but it's all his Raptor shit. That guy. Yeah. Okay, so that's the trick. You want to install these with the hood almost closed. What's cool about this harness is it's made for my A-pillar lights, but they've got the lengths. So you've got the long side, which is going to be for the driver's side, and then you got the little stubby side for the passenger side. And so basically it just gives you your long lead to run across. This for the backlight, ground, and then main power light for the light itself. And then in my case, these will go to the BantamX controller. Otherwise, you could put this to your upfitter switches on a factory truck. Right over here, this is where the upfitter switches and the pass-through wiring is. Pass-through wires come from the dash, from the passenger kick panel over by the glove box up to here, and then from here, this is where the upfitter wires for your factory switches are. So we're gonna use this space, and we're gonna use some of those wires. So if you ever wondered where they were, that's where they were. So we got our power line and our ground, and these will run, power will run right here to the battery. Ground, I'll take one of my big factory grounds. They work really well. I like to keep as many things off the battery as I can. We need to get wires through this. This is ultimately gonna sit just like that. So you can kind of see what this is starting to look like. And then we'll connect power and ground right here to the battery. But in the meantime, we got to get all these wires fed up and through this to get them connected to our auxiliary power distribution box. Where we are now, we've obviously mounted all our lights. We have lots of wires. So now at this point, I have no idea which light corresponds to the wire in my hand. So what we're gonna do, so just real simply, we'll use our jumper pack, and then we'll make Drew stare at the lights, and then we'll hit it with power, and it lights up, and it is my outer pair on my passenger side. So those are gonna go to switch 2. With this BantamX, you can add, you can program switches to come on together in pairs and all of that sort of stuff. So the location doesn't really matter. I'm gonna put them in an order for my big lights, so they'll all take up one side. But knowing that you can pair up switches to come on at the same time, so when you turn on one, you'll get 2. So I'm gonna turn on all the ambers at once and all the whites at once, or independently, but mine will come on together. And you could tag your wires when you put them in. For me, it's just easier to just check. Plus I'm also ensuring that my circuit's good by powering it up now before you go, oh, we're done, and oh, by the way, you missed a connector, you've got a pin that pushed out or something, which happens. So you want to make sure that's not happening at the end. You want to make sure that happens now. The other cool application that sPOD and Baja Designs and the BantamX makes is for your Super Duty guys that didn't come with factory auxiliary switches. They make a really cool setup to run auxiliary switches on a Super Duty. Measure once, cut twice, I think is the old adage, right? The light project is almost done, but we've got to have chase lights. You got to have something in the back. We have some Tamars on the antenna mount, which are great. We want to get some S2s on the back, and that'll take care of pretty much all our rearward facing light needs. We'll get some amber chase lights. I run a bed cover 80% of the time, 90% of the time when I'm on the highway. And this mount is the first one I've seen that takes care of keeping the bed cover and letting you run chase lights. So I'm really excited about this. This is from Ultima Metals. They got on board with this so we can mount our S2s right on top. So we just got to get a couple nutserts into this bed rail, and then we'll be good to go. All right, so just to recap, we are finished with the lighting install on the 24 Raptor. Lighting is one of few limitations this truck has from the factory, so we really wanted to address that. I'd like to thank Kyle at Baja Designs and John from SPV for hooking us up with the parts and pieces to make this project go smoothly. Project was really straightforward. Took a little while to film it, but at the end of the day, really no major hangups to speak of. We're looking forward to getting this truck out in the desert as soon as possible. And if you've made it this far, you might as well like and subscribe and keep seeing my ugly mug on your computer screen. So that's me signing out. Thanks again, Jason. Devil Mountain Diesel.